Well, today we're going to talk about recovery, rebooting, getting back to normal after you cross paths with a mean girl. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt the air change? And you know it's because of one woman, or worse, one woman and her little crowd of followers, those flying monkeys. They smile at each other, but not at you. They whisper. They exclude you from pictures. They spread subtle rumors, and suddenly you realize you've been targeted. If this has happened to you, know that you're not alone. And today I want to talk to you about how to recover, to rebuild, to reboot life, and to actually thrive after being the target of a bully, a mean girl, or her flying monkeys. So I have to share today that I am in Scotland. I was hoping to do another walk and talk. Hopefully you got to watch last week's video. Believe it or not, it's really not hard to believe. On my first walk and talk video, I lost my microphone. So I traveled all the way from Texas to Scotland with my gear so I could do good videos that you could see and hear. And I don't know that worked out. So if you're seeing this video today, I figured out how to clean up the sound and make it a little brighter. I'm actually sitting in a little Scottish cottage. It's a little dark and it's not much help outside. We've kind of got a cloudy day going on, but that's where I'm at with the equipment that I do have, that I didn't want to miss an opportunity to talk to you about this very important subject and a great question that came from a member of our community. So, mean girls don't just exist in high school. I think we've learned that, most of us, the hard way. They grow up. We meet them in the workplace. We meet them in church groups, volunteer organizations, social groups, and even in our friend circles. They show up as new neighbors and they serve in the neighborhood association, book clubs, your senior center, pickleball, you name it. Any place that women gather, there's an opportunity for a mean girl. You have to be aware because they generally target strong, accomplished, articulate women. The women who are confident, women who can walk into a room and hold their own. So if you've been targeted, don't think it's because you were viewed as weak. Honestly, it's quite the opposite. The meanest woman I know targets strong women. And for her, it's about jealousy and envy and has everything to do with her insecurity and your strength, your accomplishments, because they see you as they wish they were, but you're in their way. So let's do a reality check. What do bullies do? Well, the damage that bullies and their flying monkeys do is generally personal. They can harm your reputation with half-truths. They can make social gatherings uncomfortable until you dread showing up. And their game is making you feel so uncomfortable that ideally you just stop showing up. They can even steal your friends, or worse, take over organizations that you have poured your heart and soul into. And yes, they use social media to turn people against you or to simply erase you, right? They post lots of pictures and you're not there anymore. They're very cruel and it leaves us feeling blindsided, deeply rejected, hurt. And many women over 50 tell me that they've lost whole groups because one mean girl turned everyone in the group against them, or enough of the women that it was uncomfortable. Why does this happen? Well, they're broken and we may never know why they're broken. But what we want to talk about today is, what do we do next? What do we do after we have crossed paths with a mean girl? Because there's a lot of rebuilding to do. So the first thing I would tell you to do is acknowledge your grief. First of all, acknowledge what happened to you. It's not just in your head. You're not being too sensitive. Bullying among women is real and it's intentional. And if you've lost friendships or an organization you cared about, it's okay to grieve. It's okay to take time for self-reflection. There's just no easy way to get around it. It really hurts and it brings up a lot of self-doubt, and no one expects you to bounce back overnight. So take your time. The second thing I would recommend is reframe the story, reframe what happened. Here's a shift. It's what helped me, and I hope it can help you. Being targeted by a bully is not a sign of your failure. It's a backhanded compliment. Honestly, it is. They saw something in you that felt threatening. It might have been your competence, your kindness, your influence, your confidence. So instead of thinking to yourself, why me? Try asking, what strength in me made them feel so insecure? That reframing gives you back your power. I hope that works for you. I know it worked for me. The next thing that I did was protecting my energy, protecting my peace. I stepped away from toxic groups without any guilt. If that's what they want to do, let them do it. I blocked and muted the people on social media who got under my skin. I stopped explaining and defending myself to people who, honestly, I don't think they wanted to hear it. Unfortunately, when we go through something awful like that, we want to argue our point or justify our side, but it won't help and it won't fix anything because the mean girl wants what she wants, right or wrong. Honesty doesn't matter. Truth doesn't matter. And from my own experience, they are intimidating and people are scared of them. So no one will side with you publicly for a long time because they're afraid of the bully. You do not owe bullies or their followers, the flying monkeys, an audience. You don't need to prove your side of the story. Their behavior will speak for itself over time. But honestly, it takes time. And eventually, they hurt so many people that their supporters start feeling empowered to bail on them. What's the saying? Karma is a B. Number 4, redefine your circle. So one of the hardest parts of recovering is feeling like you've lost your place, your groups, your organization, the friends you thought you could count on. But here's the truth. Losing them opens doors to new, healthier circles. Ask yourself, who makes me feel comfortable, respected, liked? Who supports me without competition or drama? And those are the women you want to invest in. And yes, even after 50, you can build new friendships, right? Many women in our stage of life are actually craving authentic connection, but we're stuck in the past. So this gives you an opportunity to move on, to reinvent yourself, a new social circle, new hobbies, new interests, and you're positioning yourself with newfound wisdom because you got burned. Number 5, and this is my favorite, and it will empower you. If old spaces feel poisoned, force yourself to try new ones. Join professional women's networks. Take a class, art, fitness, travel, cooking. Put the focus on learning. Volunteer somewhere fresh and new where the dynamics aren't already entrenched. You know, the goal is to really place yourself where new relationships can grow without that shadow of the bully looming over you, because we act different when a bully is in the room, especially when we're the target. When I had my big run-in with the bully, and she was brutal, I went and wrote a book, Where the Mean Girls Go. And I shared personal experiences with mean girls and experiences that my friends had had. Now, you may not want to write a book, but push yourself to do something new. Number 6, rebuild your confidence. Bullying can shake our confidence to the core, but here's how you rebuild. First, write down your wins, your accomplishments, what made you special. Remind yourself who you are, what got you to the place you were when you crossed paths with the bully. Surround yourself with happy people. If they're not happy, move on. Set small social goals like reaching out to one supportive friend a week or every 2 weeks, or challenging yourself to try a new group activity. Confidence comes back in small steps, not in big leaps, but you learn to reassess and reassert your value. Number 7, let's talk about forgiveness, right? People always ask, do I have to forgive the bully? Well, my answer is forgiveness is for you, not for them. So you have to decide for yourself. You don't have to reconcile. You don't have to pretend it didn't hurt. But if you need to release the bitterness to move on, then do it as a gift to yourself. It doesn't mean letting them back into your life. It means moving on without carrying their baggage. I'd love to hear how you feel about forgiving a woman who has targeted you and possibly cost you people and things that you care about. I'll be honest, I have not forgiven the woman who stabbed me in the back. Part 8, thriving beyond the pain. So how do we get beyond it? How do we get to being hopeful again? Many women tell me that actually being pushed out of a toxic group was the beginning of something better because they discovered new acquaintances, some that actually turned into friendships. They found deeper purpose when they went looking for new challenges, trying new things, showing up in new places. It forced change that they may never have tried. They realized they had been giving so much power to people and organizations who at the end of the day didn't deserve it. So you can thrive again socially. You can reinvent your circle. You can find joy in new spaces, and you can hold your head high, knowing that the bully never truly won. I'd say in closing, if you've ever been targeted by a mean girl or her flying monkeys, you're not alone and you are not powerless. We're all resilient and fully capable of building a new chapter that feels healthier. It may look different, but ultimately we want to be a better friend, and that will attract better friends. I'd love to hear if you've had an experience dealing with an adult bully and what helped you move forward. I hope you'll share your story in the comments because your words, your experience might be exactly what another woman hears today. We are a lot stronger than we give ourselves credit for, but sometimes we get stuck in same old, same old. I know I do it. But if I'm forced to do something different, I always rise to the occasion. I know you do too. So sometimes crossing paths with a bully can be a good thing for our future and really helps us reevaluate where we were, where we're going, because you find out the hard way when you get pushed out that some of the women you thought were friends or at least close acquaintances just stood by and let it happen. But we can get over it. We can move on. It's honestly, it can be a great time in our life once we get past the hurt. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for putting up with the sound and the lighting. Hopefully I can edit a little bit, and I'll share at the end of this video a little more of my walking in the Scottish countryside. Take care. See you next week. Bye-bye.